Okay, we're going to go into General Settings and we're going to have a look at Airplane Mode. At the top left of the screen you'll see Airplane Mode up here. Now basically what that means is that if you put it on by touching like this, it will turn off your cellular data. So if you're in somewhere like Starbucks or a bookstore or something like that you don't want to use your cellular data plan, you can turn the Airplane Mode on and then simply make sure that Wi-Fi is turned on, so it connects to the wireless network at the location you're at, and that way it can save you money on your cellular plan. Simply turn it off if you don't want that on. Go back and turn Airplane Mode off, and then you go back to your original settings. So that's Airplane Mode. Okay, we're going to take a look at how to create folders on your iPad. As you can see, you've got all of your apps showing that you've got installed. And very simply, if you hold your finger on one of the apps, you'll see it start to shake. And if you drag another app onto the app, you'll create a folder, and you can call that whatever you like simply by typing in there. We'll leave it as books. If you press the home screen after this, they will stop shaking and your folder will be in place with whatever apps you want in there. Simply to take one out, you hold it until it shakes again and you drag it out to the main screen, and then it will no longer be in that folder that you created called books. You can have up to 20 apps in any folder. Okay, how to delete an app from your iPad? Very, very simple. You simply hold your finger on the app until it starts to wiggle and you press the X at the top. It'll ask you if you want to delete it and all of its data, and you simply press delete. You can keep the data or remove it in this case, and it will delete it from your iPad. Of course, it will be in your iTunes on your computer or in the cloud, so you can download it again at any time. Okay, how to close apps that are running in the background and save the battery life of your iPad. Simply double click on the home button and you'll see the apps pop up on the bottom here. Now all the ones that show are actually open and running in the background. So if you hold your finger on them, they'll start to wiggle, and it's very simple. You simply just press the delete button or the minus key here, and you can turn off the ones that you're not using to save your battery. And I highly recommend you do this. It will add life to your app, to your iPad. So you can see these are the only ones that we have open right now. To get out of it, you simply press the home button twice and it goes back to the screen that you're on. Okay, we're going to have a look at how to take a screenshot of something on your iPad. So if we open up an app, and let's assume we want to take a screenshot of this, we simply press the home button and the power button located on the top and the front of the iPad at the same time, and we will have taken that screenshot. If we look in photos, it will appear in our photos right here along with everything else that we have there. So that's how to take a screenshot of what's on your iPad and save it to your photos. Okay, another way to save some power with your battery is to go into the general settings, and if you look down on the left you'll see brightness and wallpaper, and at the top you've got auto brightness. You can turn that off and you can actually set the brightness of the screen, and believe it or not, by turning that down just slightly like that, you'll give your iPad a little bit more battery life. And of course, just to go back to what it was, you can put it up or you can turn auto on or off. Okay, let's look at how to set the wallpaper on your iPad. So let's go into settings, and as you scroll down on the left you'll see brightness and wallpaper. You select that, and if we click on wallpaper right here, you can select from the ones installed on the iPad and you can choose any. So if we choose the leaf, you get an option to set it as the lock screen or the home screen, or set both. And I'll show you the difference. If we just set this as the home screen, what you'll see is when we go back out of this, that will be our wallpaper. Now if I turn the iPad off and then back on, you'll see that our lock screen, which is this screen here, has the photo that we've set as the lock screen. When I open it, you'll see that the photo we set as the home screen is the leaf. So if we go back in, I'll show you how this works again. You can choose from your camera roll, your photo library, of course, if you want to choose any of those pictures. But if we choose a different photograph and we set this as the lock screen and we go back out, you'll see this stays as the home screen. And if we turn the iPad off and on, you'll see that is now the wallpaper for the lock screen. Okay, we're going to go into general settings and we're going to go ahead and have a look at some of the options we have in here. If we click on general, you'll see you get a selection of things on the right hand side to go through, and we are going to go ahead and have a look at restrictions. You can turn these on or off at any time, but if we enable restrictions, you are offered a passcode, which we're going to use 1234 to do this. And you can turn anything off or on that you would like the person who's going to use the iPad to have access to or not. So if you want them to not be able to install apps or delete apps, you might want to turn those off, and so on. So this is definitely a very important part of setting your iPad up with your kids or in a classroom and things like that. You can control the ratings for different countries. You can select your country. We're going to leave that on United States. Music and podcasts, you can let them download explicit content or not by turning that off. Movies, again, you can control what level of movie they are allowed to download onto the device. Same with TV shows, it will give different ratings for that. And with books, you can have sexual content, restrict that, of course. Apps, again, rated from 4+ to 17+. You can turn any of those on or off. In-app purchases, you can actually access that on or off here. And the great thing about this is we hear so many times that kids are just getting purchasing in-app purchases, that this is definitely one you want to have turned off. Require password for purchases, and so on. So make sure you go into those settings and turn them on or turn them off. And to go back out, to disable them, you simply put in your password. Okay, let's go into settings and let's go all the way down and have a look at accessibility. So if we're on the main page of the settings here, we'll scroll down to the bottom and you'll see accessibility. If we click on that, you'll see a couple of things that we're going to look at. The first one is called zoom. If we turn that on here, you'll see that zoom magnifies the entire screen. Tap 3 fingers to zoom, tap 3 fingers, drag 3 fingers to move around the screen, and double tap 3 fingers to zoom back out. So if we turn that on, you'll see what happens. If you tap 3 fingers, it zooms in and you can move around the screen there. So people that may have difficulty with reading or the size of the text, whatever they're looking at, can do that. And simply to zoom back out, you double tap again with 3 fingers and you can turn that off. So that is the zoom function in accessibility. Okay, let's go back into settings and scroll down to accessibility. And let's have a look at large text. If we turn this on, let's just select the largest text to make this obvious here, and we go back out, click the home button. When you go into things like your mail and your calendar and notes, for example, the text will automatically appear larger, in this case 56 point. If you put that back to regular, it will be a lot smaller. So it helps you to read read the screen at different font sizes throughout. And you can change any of those font sizes at any time from 20, 24, 32, 40, 48 and 58. So if we turn that back off and we head on back out to the main screen, you'll see that it goes back to the regular size text. So that's how you change the size of the text to make things easier to read. Okay, going back into settings, let's look at how to invert the colors on your iPad for those that find it easier to read black on white or white on black, either way. If we scroll down and go on to accessibility, you'll come up with this menu and you simply click on Invert Colors. If you turn that on, you'll see that you now have white text on the black background, whereas if you look before, you had black text on a white background. And this will be throughout the iPad. So if we click the home button, you'll see that everything is inverted to look that way. So if we go back to our notes, you'll see that you now have white text on a dark background when you type. So for those that need that to help them read and to help them type, it will do that. And it will actually work with every single app on the iPad. So if you're going to read a book, for example, it will be inverted within that book. If I open an app, you'll see that the colors are inverted within this app.
Welcome to Gappy's First Words.
So you can see how that works. So for those that need maybe a high contrast, and simply to change it back, you just turn it off and it goes back. Okay, let's go into settings and show you how you can have the iPad speak the text that you have on the screen. If we go into accessibility on the bottom and you've got speak selection, we've got it on here. You can turn it off at any time, but we'll leave it on for this. You can have different languages selected here. Okay, we're going to use US English. Go back out. Speaking rate, you can increase to very fast or very slow. Highlight words.
Speak selection reads selected content.
Highlight words on or off, and I'll show you if you speak fast.
Speak selection reads selected content.
So you can see how fast that goes.
Speak selection reads selected content.
And how this works is if we go back out, and you can do this with a web page or your notes or your emails, whatever it is you'd like it to read to you. But if we click on notes and you've got, I'll just show you a sentence up here. Once you highlight that, you'll see what happens is if you highlight the whole text and you press speak,
remember to take out the trash.
It will speak what you type in your notes there. So it could be very helpful if you're creating a list or something that somebody needs to listen to and may have difficulty reading. Again, if you go into onto the internet and you want to read something that has text on a page. So for example, if we'd like to read this paragraph here out loud, you simply highlight it and we can select the whole thing. We can press speak.
A lot of bonding takes place between a new mother and her newborn in the days immediately after birth. There's nothing quite as wonderful as the cooing sound of your newborn during a feeding or some cuddle time.
Okay, so it can have a lot of great, a lot of use with that feature, such as reading textbooks and so on that you have put into your iPad. So that's having the iPad speak for you. Okay, let's go into the settings menu and have a look at the multitasking gestures. This allows you to pinch the home screen to go to the home page, swipe to reveal the multitasking bar, and swipe left or right between apps. So how does this work? Well, if we go out and we open up an app, for example, let's open a book. Now if I pinch with my hand to the middle, it will take me back to the home screen, so it's a very quick way to get back there. Let's open it back up again. If I swipe up with 4 fingers, it'll reveal the apps on the bottom that are open, and I can choose another app from here, just like that. And if I want to go between 2 apps, I take 4 fingers and I simply swipe the screen and it'll go to the other app, and I can go back to the other app. So you don't have to go in and out all the time to get to different apps. So it saves you a lot of time. Going back into the settings, you can turn that on or off simply by doing that. So that's multitasking gestures. Okay, let's go into settings and let's have a look at accessibility. And let's take a look at guided access. One of my very favorite things about the new iOS that Apple did here. Guided access on or off. Again, you can turn it on or off just by doing that. If you have it on, you can set a password. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. Put that in twice, so that's all set up. And go back out, and I'll show you how this works. When we go to look at an app, and we'll pick Dexteria as an example. If I press the home button, so for example, you're in an app, and if I press the home button 3 times, you'll see guided access will pop up, and we can start that. And if we just press start, what it does, it tells you it started, and it stops the person using the iPad pressing the home button to go back out. When I press the home button, it says triple click the home button to exit, meaning that they're in this app and you can leave them in this app if they don't know the password. Now if they press it 3 times, it'll come up and ask you for that password, and like I said, if they don't know, then they can't get out of that app. Now if we choose an exercise in here, we'll just click yes. I'll show you the other part of guided access. Here, where you have the touch, you can actually highlight an area that you don't want the person to be able to use. So in this case, we don't want them to be able to go the information or go back out. We'll click resume, and you'll see now this is off limits and they can't use it. So all they can do is use the app and move on to the next level within that app, and they can't go back out and so on, or go to the information, and they can't press the home button to get out. So that's how guided access works. Simply to get out, press the home button 3 times, end the guided access, and then you can get back into the main area and turn guided access on or off under learning. Okay, let's go into settings and have a look at the function called Do Not Disturb. We've got it turned off, but if we turn it on and then click on notifications here, you'll see that if you highlight Do Not Disturb, scheduled on from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. You can change that time anytime you like. Maybe it's for a class, maybe it's for a meeting, something like that you don't want the iPad to buzz, or FaceTime to be able to get you, or your emails to ping, or anything like that. And you simply touch that to turn that off. So 11 to 7 we have that. We can allow calls from no one, or you can have contacts. In this case I usually have my wife's phone be able to contact me. You can set that as everyone, favorites, all contacts, or whatever it is, whatever group you set up. And go back out to Do Not Disturb. And repeat calls, which basically says when enabled, a second FaceTime call from the same person within 3 minutes will not be silenced. Just to let you know how that works. So it's a good function, obviously at night time, good for schools, good in meetings, and good for any time you don't want to have any unusual sounds appearing while you're doing something important. So Do Not Disturb. Okay, let's open up settings. I'm going to show you something that maybe not a lot of people are familiar with, but when you scroll down the left hand side of your screen, you'll see the apps, some of the apps that are installed on your iPad here, that have options for you to change the way the app works. So for example, if we just go up and have a look at Dexteria, and this is the app we have highlighted, you've got 3 different activities: pinch it, tap it, write it. If you click on one of them, it'll tell you about the applications. So as you can see here, the crab count on level 1 for this is 10, the crab speed is 10, the crab count on level 2, the crab count on level 3. So to change this, you simply just go in and change it to what you would like it to be. And then you can alter the way that app works when you turn it on and off. So you can increase the crabs or decrease the crabs, increase the speed, and so on. And that's different for every single app, but just something not many people look at, but a good way for you to look at what different apps can offer, such as turning the background music off, and on and stuff like that without having to go through those settings every single time you turn the app on. So look at those apps within the settings menu.